Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to our Big Ideas webinar series. My name is Zach and I will be your moderator today. So if you have any questions or comments at any point during the presentation, please type them into the Zoom Q&A feature and I will do my best to get to the end of them at the program. Before we get started, let me just tell you a few things about this Big Ideas webinar series. This Special Thought Leadership Series features NAIFA members who are using innovative techniques, tools, or approaches to advance their practice and better serve their clients. Now, if you are a Big Ideas person who would like to be featured, please let us know. Additionally, the Big Ideas webinar series culminates into the Big Ideas workshops, which are only held at our Performance Plus Purpose conference that just so happens to be in Orlando this year from September 11th to 14th. So if you like today's webinar, you will love our power-packed lineup at P+P. We will provide a main stage delivery and a workshop to bring you new ideas for how to elevate your performance. So just keep in mind, early bird pricing ends July 15th. So check out the agenda at conference.naifa.org. And speaking of P+P, our speaker today is John D. Richardson, who will absolutely be at this year's conference. So we are thrilled to have John join us today to talk about the Scrum method and how this has transformed his practice completely. If you don't already know John, he is the NAIFA Tennessee president. He's the National YAT Committee chairman, and he is the 2018 YAT Leader of the Year recipient. The two character building experiences that John credits most for developing him into the person he is today include the 5 summers he sold books and Bibles door to door with Thomas Nelson Publishers, while he was in college, and the time he invested as a youth in obtaining the rank of an Eagle Scout with the Boy Scouts of America. So John and his wife, Dr. Kelly W. Richardson, live in Nashville, Tennessee. John enjoys giving back to his community and currently serves in leadership roles within several organizations, including the Boy Scouts of America, Davidson County Election Commission, and his church, and various other organizations. In his leisure time, John enjoys playing strategy tabletop board games with his friends, attending stand-up and improv comedy shows, traveling to fun and exciting destinations with his wife, Kelly, and talking to strangers with the hope of making new friends. I'm going to turn things over to John because he's got the Scrum method today. So John, please.
Zach, thank you so much for having me today. And guys, keep the conversation or the messages coming. Jeff, I just received yours, and I'm looking forward to having you today, as well as anybody else who wants to chime in or send comments. Looks like Dave Cranfield's on the call. Dave, it's always good to see you. And I've got all kinds of hot chicken stories about my buddy Dave, but that's a story for another day. Today, I get to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and that's a word that perhaps you may have heard of, but you may not know too much about, and it's called Scrum. That's spelled S-C-R-U-M. No, it's not an acronym. It's an actual word that comes from sports, but we're using it in the sense of Scrum, in the sense of the IT, information technology. We're using it when it comes to agile planning and so forth. So let's go ahead and transition over to the presentation and kick the show off. And by the way, you're welcome to send comments and send them this way, and I will answer any and all questions at the end of our time together today. So, as Zach mentioned, my name is John Richardson. I'm actually online with you guys. I'm here in Franklin, Tennessee, which is just south of Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville's my home. Born and raised here in Nashville, and been in the business 14 years. Been a NAIFA member ever since joining the industry. Prior employment was with a guy on the radio by the name of Dave Ramsey, so I worked with him for 2 years, and then I worked with a couple of different companies in the financial services industry, John Hancock, AXA, and now I find myself with Peachtree Planning, and actually work with the DBA by the name of Bound Brook Advisors. So we do comprehensive planning, and I work with mostly folks who are in that red zone, that 10 years out from retirement as they go into retirement. And so my worldview is of a 766 life and health comprehensive financial planner. And when I discovered this book and this concept called Scrum, I instantly applied it to both my personal life and within my involvement within scouting and with my wife Kelly and other organizations. I applied it to my business. I also applied it to my involvement within NAIFA. So today my hope is this. With the time we have together, my hope is to spend about 30 minutes or so and to leave the back end open for questions, is to share with you my passion for Scrum and why a simple concept has had such a tremendous impact in my life, and my hope is it has impact in yours. So here we go. It's January 1st. You're looking at your year. And if you're like me, you probably start planning for your next year around Thanksgiving. You look at, okay, so far I've done this kind of production so far year to date in the previous year, and I want to have this kind of year next year, and I want to be involved in this way with this organization, or I want to give back to these organizations in that way. So you put together a plan, and you look at, use some research, some ideas, you put your ideas on paper, you've got a strategic plan, and most people, they look at their first year commissions they want to do every year, or their GDC, or the amount of new clients they want to have, and they take that big number and they divide it by 12, and that's the amount of new clients they want to have each and every month. And they find themselves here at the middle of the year, we're at the tail end of June going into July, halfway through the year, and they're scratching their head wondering, why am I not where I want to be? And the reason why is that though folks had good intentions and they had a plan, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, said the famous Mike Tyson. And if you think about it, at the beginning of the year, in your mind, the plan was perfect. It's going to start here, it's going to end here, and at the end, it's going to be beautiful. But the problem is, come February, your life changed. You had a case fall off the books. You found yourself, you had some things in your pipeline that you thought were going to land and were going to happen, they didn't happen. Or you had distraction, you had a family member get sick. Something happened in your life that kind of threw your plan out the window, and that's the problem with the traditional planning model, which is A, then B, then C, and they kind of stretch out over the entire year. So the question is, how do we make NAIFA board meetings more productive, but more importantly, and fun, how do I make my life more fun? How do I make my business more fun and more productive? And the answer is Scrum. Now, if you guys look on the screen, you'll notice a rugby scrum, which is kind of like it's the sport of football. You got lineups and line scrimmage rules. Rugby is similar but different. If you've been through the Leadership in Life Institute, also known as Lilly, there's a movie by the name of Invictus. And in the movie Invictus, it talks about South Africa, but more importantly, they also talk about rugby and how the sport of rugby is played out, and you learn all about that sport. So the guy who wrote this book called Scrum took the concept from rugby, which is the idea is you got a small committed group of people working together for a common goal together. So we're going to talk about Scrum. No, it's not this kind of Scrum. The kind of Scrum we're going to talk about today is about, it's called the Agile Marketing Plan. So what I'm going to do for you guys now is share with you the Scrum video. It's going to run about 5 minutes in length. My hope is that as you watch the video, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, grab a piece of paper and take some notes. And we're on the back end, I'm going to tell you and share with you how this model of planning for the future can be applied personally, professionally, within your NAIFA, local association at the national level, and so forth. So again, grab some popcorn, enjoy, and we'll be back together in about 5 minutes.
Hey, John, real quick, could you put the presentation mode on?
Coach would like to start a new project.
Presentation mode?
Yes. Just real quick for the slides.
And where am I?
It's looking like we're in the PowerPoint. We're seeing your PowerPoint, but we're not seeing the full presentation mode.
Oh, no, that's okay. Can you, hopefully you guys can see it. It should be, can you see the whole screen? It's in the PowerPoint.
We're seeing the title slide. We're not seeing the full.
Oh.
Usually viewed.
What do you see right now?
Just your title slide.
You haven't seen me move through the slides?
No, sorry about that.
Right. Let's do this. And we're going to stop share. We're going to go back to here. So all that talking, you guys didn't catch any of those slides.
We saw them, but they were smaller on the side there.
Okay, that's all good. So share. We're going to go to here. We're going to go to share. All right, so if I start this, I did PowerPoint. All right, now what do you see?
There we go.
All right, let's quickly recap. Big picture, this is John from Nashville. We all have a plan. Mike Tyson's gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. How do I make NAIFA and life more fun? The answer is Scrum. And it's not just for rugby, it's actually for IT nerds and financial advisors and anybody else who's tired of doing planning the way they've always done before. So Zach, does that bring us current?
Yes, sir.
Do you see my PowerPoint? We're good?
Yes, we do.
All right, cool.
Suppose you'd like to start a new project. Usually you'd draw up a plan, make a schedule, find a project manager, hold endless meetings, and ultimately just hope you don't stumble before you reach the finish line. But what does that usually deliver? Everything's more expensive than expected. You stress about your deadline. The end result could have been better, and energy has drained from your team. These problems are solved with Scrum. With Scrum, you write fewer plans and you do more. In short cycles, we call sprints. You don't work on separate islands, but as one dedicated team. Instead of working on a project with a distant deadline, you constantly deliver functioning products. You don't use final evaluations, but you receive continuous feedback. Scrum is a flexible way of working in a rapidly changing world. It's frequently used in IT projects, so many of the websites you visit or apps you use were made using Scrum. This way of working is used more and more. Scrum was recently used to build a large new bridge, but it can also be used to develop new products, compile budgets and annual reports, organize events in your town, or even to set up a completely new company. How does Scrum work? Let's use the marketing campaign for a new car as an example. In the first week, you take action right away. You share a glimpse of your design through social media. The feedback you receive will be used in week 2. You attract media attention, which leads to new feedback for making improvements. We call these weeks sprints, which are actually mini projects that each produce their own specific results. Instead of knowing exactly where you want to end up, you take a step-by-step approach as you work towards your final ambition, like the successful launch of a new car. A Scrum team has stand-up meetings, works transparently, feels a joint responsibility, is aware of the progress made every day, and has results to celebrate after each sprint. Scrum has 3 roles. First, the product owner, the key stakeholder with a vision who provides direction to the team for each sprint. Then there are team members, 5 to 9 professionals in various disciplines who are jointly responsible for the results. The Scrum Master, a facilitator who focuses completely on the process. Then there are Scrum lists, the product backlog in which you list your ambitions and express how you intend to achieve them. The sprint backlog, the shopping list of products you want to produce in the next sprint. The definition of done indicates precisely what needs to be done by the end of the sprint. And the Scrum board. This shows all of the team members' tasks, which will change from to do, to busy, to done during a sprint. Then there are 4 meetings. First, the sprint planning meeting. What exactly are we going to achieve during this sprint, and who's doing what? Next, the stand-up. Is everything going according to plan, and are we going to make it? The third meeting is the review, during which you deliver your results and receive feedback. The last meeting is the retrospective. You look back on the process and reflect on what you can improve as a team for the next sprint. Scrum is a powerful way of working that provides speed and energy. Maybe something for your organization too?
Okay, so quick recap. Scrum is an agile project management system. It's not a rugby huddle, though the term comes from rugby. Again, it's a way of doing business. It's a way to get things done in a more concise, precise way. The way they do that is we do that with sprints. And sprints are, as they mentioned in the video, short cycles of activity and by dedicated teams. The parts or the process of a Scrum is just like this. If you look on the far left-hand side, you'll notice here's the product backlog. So these are all the activities that we want to get done, perhaps in a period of time, whether it's a month or it's a week or it's a year. But you get the idea. That's your product backlog. In my business, we do it on a weekly basis, where we basically figure out all the meetings we need to have with clients that week, all the paperwork that needs to be created and processed and submitted and scanned and all that good stuff that week. And so we create sticky notes for all of those areas. And then on the sprint backlog is basically a box where on the sprint board, which I'll perhaps share with you guys in a bit, where you have all the different sticky notes. And you have if you remember from the sprint board, it has in process, or will do, or to do, in process, and done. And the important idea behind the sprint backlog, as we're doing those sprints, which is a continual loop on a weekly or a daily or a monthly basis, depending on the organization. The idea is that for that period of time, much like an athlete who is the sprinter and you just bust it for a short period of time, for those folks who've ever done CrossFit or any type of intense training or P90X, you notice that the workout routine doesn't last 2, 3, 4 hours. It's short, little, intense, bite-sized pieces, and that's exactly what you're doing. You literally put the blinders on and you bust it for a period of time. You come back, you take a look at the work that's been done, and you ask yourself, what do I need to do next? And those sticky notes help you keep track of where you're going. And the idea at the end of the day is to get a product, whatever that product is, whether that's a client moving through the planning process, a person coming on board and sharing your vision or your why you do what you do, or if you've got perhaps you got an old 401k that's collecting dust at a person's previous employer that needs to be rolled over to an IRA, helping them see the big picture, helping them move those assets over. And so whatever the process is, whatever that sticky note is, that's the end of the day. That's what your goal is, to move through the process as quickly as you possibly can. So it's all about velocity. It's all about throughput. It's all about getting from I will do this to in process to done and on to the next time as quickly as you possibly can. Each Scrum meeting has 3 main questions. And by the way, like I mentioned, I do this in my personal life. My wife, Kelly, and I, on a monthly basis, we Scrum. We have things that we want to get accomplished. In my office here, we actually Scrum on a daily basis every day from 10:30 to 11, the 4 of us on our team. And on certain days when our director of first impressions, Ann is her name, when she's in the office, she joins us for our Scrum meeting. But we actually take turns leading the Scrum meetings. And the 3 questions we ask ourselves are, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And what obstacles are getting in your way from helping you get to where you want to go? And by asking and answering those questions, it helps us really quickly determine, okay, what's just head trash? What do I need to move away from? What do I need to focus in on? But more importantly, if you look at that third one, which talks about obstacles, that's the power of a team. That's the power of being a part of a Scrum team where, use a real life example. I guess it was a month or so ago, my computer went down. I mean, it just locked up. Yes, it's a PC, and yes, I know it's not a Macintosh. I'm sure some of you guys are watching this on your iMac or your Super Mac or Big Mac or whatever you call your Macintosh computer, and you're saying you should be a Mac guy, and I get that. So long story short, my PC locked up and I was dead in the water. I had a full day of client meetings. Actually, I had several more days of client meetings, and a big part of me wanted to stop what I was doing, go get a computer as quickly as possibly can so I can get up and running real quickly. Kane Myers, who's on my team, said, time out, John, why don't you just use my computer? I'm gonna be away from the office. Use my computer for a season, it's a Mac, and that way you can kind of get a feel for if this is something you wanna switch over to. And that way we can keep things going, because I see you've got a full pipeline of activity, things going on. Don't let something like a computer locking up be a distraction. That was an obstacle for me, but being on a team, he helped me see through that. And so that when I got to the weekend during non-revenue producing time, I could then go get that computer that I wanted. And by the way, let the record show, I did get another PC. I did not switch to a Mac. So I apologize for any of you Mac folks out there, but some folks are dog people, some folks are cat people. I don't know which is which when it comes to a Macintosh, but I'm a PC kind of guy. So but long story short, I didn't let a distraction, I didn't let an obstacle get in my way. The bigger picture was I had to keep things going, because if you look at your week, Mondays and Fridays are my buffer days. Those are days where we're doing a lot of internal planning. That's the reason we're having this conversation together today on a Friday, is because Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I should be in front of my clients connecting with them. I should not be, if I can help it, doing NAFA stuff or doing things outside of that. I really want to pack my Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with as many revenue producing activities as I possibly can so that I can have the business to do the fun things in those off days and in those buffer days. So that's neither here nor there. The 3 roles on a Scrum team, if you remember the video, is the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the team members. Now, the product owner, I'm independent in the sense that my business is my business, and the 3 other guys on my team, their business is their business. We do a lot of work together. We actually for our clients, we actually bring them all through the planning process. We got folks who are masters when it comes to cash flow. We've got folks who are excellent when it comes to the area of retirement income planning. That's more my focus. And we all work together as a team. But at the end of the day, my clients, my responsibility is to help my clients go through that process. So when it comes to the product is my clients being happy and getting them from, I got this issue to getting done and being taken care of as quickly as possible. The Scrum Master, like I said, we rotate positions. To start off with, it was Kane, and then we started rotating around the team. Now our Director of First Impressions, and she actually just retired from UPS for almost 20 years. She led a team of 7 folks on her team, and we quickly realized this woman's got amazing skill sets, and she now leads our Scrum team, and she's the best Scrum Master as far as helping us understand that's an objection, and let's get that figured out. And so she is our Scrum Master and has been for the past few weeks, and it's been a blessing. And our team members, if you notice there on the slide, it talks about 5 to 9 professionals. In the book Scrum, which is where all this comes from, he talks about the ideal number is the number 7. And if you can't have 7, then you should have 5 to 9, but no more than 9. And if you get 4 or 5, things can really work. But when you get 5, 6, 7, that's the ideal sweet spot. Ironically enough, outside of doing work and outside of Boy Scouts and the other NAFA stuff, just recently, about 3 months ago, I had an opportunity to go back and do an experience through NAFA that I enjoyed back in 2008. And that was my involvement with the Leadership and Life Institute, Lilly. Brenda Spear asked that I come as the NAFA Tennessee president to the meeting to speak and to share the vision of what's going on with NAFA. And it's the new NAFA and how exciting of a time it is to be a NAFA member. And she and the folks in the class, there are 7 of us, they said, wow, this is good stuff. John, would you mind coming and helping moderate? Of course, I had to go through all the hoops and check all the boxes and get approved. So I am a Lilly moderator in training and helping her. But in the process, yesterday I was out of the office. And all day long I was working with the other advisors and going through the material. It was our 4th session. And what's neat is we actually had a guest speaker come in and talk about teamwork and putting a team together. We had a gentleman who is the chairman for the United Auto Workers with General Motors, with GM, here in Spring Hill, Tennessee. The Spring Hill plant leads the nation in productivity. And he went before us and was telling us all about how he and his team, these teams, they've got 5,000 employees or so, and they have teams of 5 to 6 people. That's the magic number for them. Not 15 or 20, but 5 to 6 people. And all these people on these teams, they mutually hold each other accountable. They have a big picture. They go and do life together. And they're very intentional with their time together. And they have a board where they put information. And I asked him, I said, hey, by the way, are you familiar with the idea of Scrum? And he's like, yeah, agile marketing. Yeah, we've been doing it for years. And it's the reason why we lead the nation in productivity. It's the reason why the happiness quotient for our membership, for those folks who are their union members, is through the roof. It's because of the ability to do life. So I never thought in a million years in a Lilly class, we'd invite in a guest speaker and talk about teamwork. And sure enough, he's already using the Scrum method, which is pretty exciting. All successful Scrum teams have the following criteria. Again, they're intentional. They do brief stand-up meetings. For us, it's 30 minutes, once a day, 10:30 to 11, like clockwork. No matter where you are, you call in, and you're part of that action. And if you can't make it, it's okay. The other folks on the team, we make it. But on the whole, that time is sacred. We want to make sure that we're there for each other. We work transparently. We're very open and honest. There's a story about a cow and a buffalo, and when the storm comes in, a cow has a tendency, or cattle have a tendency to run away from the storm. And in doing so, because cows aren't very fast, they get wet, and they stay wet for a longer period of time. And they're in that storm, and they're in the thick of things for a longer period of time. And if you think about it, we all have a tendency, especially here in the South, to say, bless your heart, and people to sweep stuff under the rug, and it never gets better. The opposite of the cow is the buffalo. And the buffalo puts its head down and runs right into the storm, knowing that by pushing through that storm, on the other side, they can get to nicer weather more quickly. We have a concept here in our office, and it comes from Scrum, and it comes from the idea of we're going to buffalo an issue. So when we've got, during those Scrum meetings, if I have some heartburn with another guy on my team or vice versa, which I can assure you, if you do life with anybody, you're going to have times where you're not going to see each other. You're not going to be on the same page. We work transparently. We're real with each other. We address it. We do it in a respectful manner. We have open and honest dialogue because I respect my teammates as much as I respect myself, in the sense that I want them to communicate honestly with me and vice versa. And as a result, we don't have issues with gossip or with people back talking, or we just get out, we deal with it, and we move on. And it's amazing how I can live a life that is much more freeing and much more enjoyable without having to play politics, especially in a team of 4 folks that would divide the team group and anything else. So we push through things and we work transparently. There's a joint responsibility. Everything we do together is a team. Back to NAFA and on the board level, we'll talk about that in a second. My president-elect, when it comes to membership, the other people in the team, they all communicate together in our monthly Scrum conference call meetings via Zoom for our board meetings on a monthly basis, which are only 1 hour. And we all feel a joint responsibility. Our goal in NAFA, Tennessee is to get 100 new members this year. And we all know it. We have a clear picture of where the definition of done is, what the definition of done is, and we're all mutually working there to get there. And the last part of a Scrum team is, in order for it to be successful, we need to have an aware of progress, we need to celebrate wins, and we need to learn from our challenges. I shared this as an aside to Suzanne, and I wasn't trying to be braggadocious, and far from it, I didn't want the attention. My general agent sent us I guess it was an email, maybe it was a month or so ago, reflecting on the first, I guess it was the end of May, the first 5 months in 2018, and did a comparison side by side with the first 5 months in 2019. Life insurance, annuities, income protection, GDC, which is investments, growth dealer concessions, overall production. In every category, our team improved. Some categories, single digits. Some categories, double digits. Other categories, it was astronomical. It was like triple digits. Why? Because of Scrum. And again, we don't have it all figured out. One of these days, perhaps, we'll all write a book and talk about our experience together. But right now, we're in the moment. We're living this. We're actually aware of our progress. And we celebrate wins on a weekly basis. And when a person has a huge point day, we high five each other. When folks are having a character building day, it's okay. We're there for each other and we encourage each other. And from a challenges standpoint, we learn from those challenges. I am a very expressive person. There's 4 of us on the team. I'm very expressive. The Enneagram number system, I'm a 7. There's 2 guys on the team that are 9s, and we got 1 guy who's a 2. And so our personalities are pretty diverse. And the 2 guys who are 9s, they're peacemakers. They're very quiet, very tranquil. And when I come into the office in the morning at 7 a.m. and I'm loud, and that's before I even had my first cup of coffee, it drives them nuts. But the energy I bring to the table, they realize that, and we work together. So I have to learn how to dance well with them. Same thing with the Scrum board. Things that motivate me don't necessarily motivate the other folks in my team. So we have to respect each other's what motivates us, and we learn from our challenges as well. So I've had my fair share of challenges with as we've learned through the Scrum process, but at the end of the day, it's been worth it, and we've got a lot of success from it. So let's bring this down to NAFA, Tennessee. There are 3 teams in NAFA, Tennessee that we broke our entire board into. And those 3 teams are in charge of serving existing NAFA members, recruiting new members, and enhancing the NAFA member experience. And with each of these teams, as the NAFA Tennessee president, I'm the product owner, and I sat down with each of the teams, and I said, in the executive committee, I said, let's put together, let's dream big. What would success look like? And we all agreed that we want to have more money in the bank at the end of this year than we did at the end of last year. We all agreed we'd like to have positive membership growth, at least 1 member, but what if we could really grow our membership? And at the end of the day, we all agreed that we wanted to shift our mindset from dues paying members and having to have programming supported by our members to non-dues revenue. I'm in the investment business. I've got a book of business it's called Assets Under Management, and I get paid 1% on an annual basis. Actually, it comes out on a quarterly basis, but 1% annually. On January 1st, I get to take in a deep breath and realize, okay, I know how much income, if the market's flat, this is how much income I'm gonna have this year off of my assets. How amazing would that be if, as NAIFA, the national, the local, and all these different levels, if we knew that we had recurring non-dues revenue coming in the door that would cover our standard of living. So in NAIFA, Tennessee, our vision is this: over a period of 5 years, having $100,000 in reoccurring revenue from businesses, non-dues revenue come in. Well, it's hard to do that in 1 year. So we broke it down to 5. So 20,000 over the next 5 years. So each and every year, we just go find businesses that want to support us, that have a mutual interest, a symbiotic relationship, and we ask them for their recurring support. And we just do 20,000 over the next 5 years. We'll have 100,000, and the math gets good after that. So when we look at those 3 teams, again, our first Scrum team, we have Mark Lewis. He's a property and casualty multi-line insurance guy. He's an awesome guy, past president. He's heading that team, and that team includes all of our regional vice presidents, including Kathy Balcom, our association executive. And in Tennessee, we broke the rules. We actually have 2 RVPs. We have a senior RVP and a junior RVP. The senior RVP is a past state president. Been there, done that. They don't want to go through the chairs, but they have a desire to mentor the next generation of leaders. Our junior RVPs are hungry. They see the vision. They know where Nathan's going. They're on the bus. They're in the right seat. They want to move up and eventually become the state president. So it's an exciting thing to watch the senior and the junior regional vice presidents work together. And their goal, by the way, is to retain membership. 90% is their goal, and I believe we can do it. Scrum Team 2 is recruiting new members. This is Karen Bird. She is our president-elect. This is the woman that I'm held accountable to. Along with the entire board, I want to leave the state better than the way I found it, financially, membership, recurring revenue. And so she's the reason why when I check in with her on a pretty regular basis, almost seems like every other day, but usually once a week, I want her to know that I'm here to support her and her membership team as they recruit new members, and also make sure we're moving in the right direction. So this is her team. Some of you guys recognize Rebecca. She's at the top. The guys, that's Bob Brown's daughter. We got a couple guys in Murfreesboro, Chase and Adam. The gentleman on the right here, his name is Clark Boyd and Mark Pody. He is a member of the Tennessee General Assembly on the House side, and Mark Pody is on the Senate side. And then you got Scott Flowers or APIC. So the people in the area of recruiting new members are young professionals, and they're focused on politics, because in the advocacy side of NAIFA, who better to go out and get folks excited about NAIFA than the folks who have a finger on the pulse of the advocacy of what NAIFA is doing. And that's why I put these folks on the team. Our goal through the membership team is to get 100 new members by the end of this year, and we're well on our way. And then our third team is all about enhancing that NAIFA experience. Cindy Moyers is our national committee person for NAIFA Tennessee, and she heads up a team of people that are on the finance side of the house. And again, their goal is to get $20,000 in recurring non-dues revenue. So you have Bobby Queener, who is our treasurer. You got Peggy, who is in charge of heading these up. We're actually having a road show, kind of like baseball with NAIFA All-Star Roadshow. So you got the baseball theme. We've got Delvin Joyce, and we've got Gail Goodman, who are going to be speaking in the month of August as we go from Memphis, Nashville to Knoxville to spread the good news of what NAIFA's doing in Tennessee, getting folks excited, promoting membership, promoting non-dues revenue. Of course, you have Brenda Spear, who is our Lilly moderator and Lilly chairman, and you got Larry Smith, who's heading up all things IFAPAC. So again, you put those folks together that are in the money space, because at the end of the day, we want to have reoccurring dues-paying people as well as reoccurring revenue from non-dues people, which are for businesses. So again, big picture, here's Scrum Team 1. This is what they've done, and these are the results. I'll give you a second. I won't read this to you, but you can just take a look. This is Scrum Team 2. This is what they've done, and this is what the results have been. And Scrum Team 3. This is what they've done, this is what they're doing, and these are the results. And if you notice there at the bottom where it says 7 new NAIFA-focused members in the 2019 Lilly class, some of these people, it's a blessing to be the current state president of NAIFA Tennessee, or the Tennessee chapter of NAIFA, and to be doing life with these folks who are now going through Lilly, an experience that I originally had back in 2008. Now it is 11 years later to be at the table, to see the new generation of NAIFA's leadership, and to be in their presence and to see them excited about being a NAIFA member. It's fantastic. This book right here, if you have a camera on you real quickly, my recommendation is to go ahead and take a picture of this slide right here. This is the book where it all started from. It's called The Art of Doing Twice the Work in Half the Time by Jeff Sutherland. It is the reason why I'm sitting here today talking to you guys about a concept that a year ago I had never heard of until my buddy Kane Myers gave me this book, said, John, you should read it. He knows I'm pretty enthusiastic about things, for those things I'm passionate about, if it's true, if it's honest, if it's beautiful, if it's good, if it's meaningful. And I read it and I realized that, okay, this is a game changer. So I've been all about it ever since. So take a picture. When I was in Washington, D.C., I gave a similar presentation in front of a room of about 100 some odd folks before the congressional conference. And I had several people afterwards tell me, John, I ordered the book from Amazon. It's on my way. And I've had a few people follow up with me and tell me if they've enjoyed reading the book. So it makes my heart happy to see folks take action, because I am a man of action, and I want to encourage folks to be people of action so that they can make a difference in their personal life as well as their professional life as well with NAFA. So one last plug, and then I'm done talking for a while, and that is the Orlando conference. If you are listening to my voice right now, and you're enjoying this, I want you to have this type of experience with a real person in a room through the Big Ideas, which is coming up in September in Orlando at our NAFA Performance Plus Purpose Conference. We call it P+P. It's going to be awesome. Now, early registration, I believe, ends in the middle of July. Don't wait. I think actually Southwest today is running a deal on tickets. And Orlando's a big hub, so wherever you are in the U.S., I think you can get to there like for $59 or $99. It's crazy cheap. Go online, register for the conference, reserve your hotel while the rates are still great. Get your airfare taken care of, and when you get there, you'll see why it's these Big Idea meetings are so they're fantastic. So again, I'm John Richardson. It's been a pleasure connecting with you guys today. My contact information, my cell phone, email address is at the bottom, and you're always welcome to email me or call me if you have any questions. And with that, Zach, turn it over to you.
Thanks, John. Let's get a gallery view here. So thank you, everybody that joined us today. If you have any questions, now would be a great time to ask them. We can do a little Q&A.
We got a lot. All right. So Jeffrey Hill, thanks for being on the call. Any questions? Give me, it looks like you're trying to help me out with my presentation. It's good. Dave Cranfield's question is, my only real question is, how do I get to be as cool as John D. Richardson? And I have, you know, I'm cool because I hang out with you, is what it is. And we both have a passion for Nashville hot chicken. That's why we're cool. And okay, and yeah, so there you go. So I'll wait a few minutes. Okay, so we have one person who wanted to know. So John, I hear you say what you're saying, but you know it's like you're talking. But are you true? Do you live this? So I tell you what. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead. Can you guys see me? I'm going to go ahead and switch and turn this off. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
All right, so I'm going to leave this meeting. I'm going to give you guys a tour of what my office looks like so you can see my Scrum board and what we use within our team on a daily and also weekly basis to keep track. So you can actually see what a day in the life of John Richardson is like. Is that cool? Zach, do you mind if I do that real quick?
I think that's great.
Okay. Technology.
Ooh. We're getting a tour.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we're going to go to the Scrum room last, but that's where you come in. This is my,
we lost the video.
you guys can see it.
We lost your video there.
See, that's the best thing about technology is that it runs on power. And so it's okay. I'm going to take just 2 seconds and I'll answer a couple questions. Time check wise, I look at my clock says 2:40 Zach. There's an hour allotted, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to sit here and answer questions and then charge my phone for a minute, and then we'll go. I was going to give you guys a nickel tour of the whole place, but we'll just skip right to the scrum room and go from there. So we'll answer some of these questions. All right, so again, Jeff, you had questions. Looks like you got questions regarding the hot chicken in Nashville. Yes. Hattie B's is one of our famous locations, and the type of hot chicken that you refer to in your question/comment is from Hattie B's. So originally Bolton's hot chicken, and it was one of the original ones, as well as Prince's hot chicken. And these were pretty much in the north part of Nashville. And as the story goes, I guess it was, as my phone's charging, I guess it was maybe, I don't know who was the mayor. It was Mayor Bill Purcell of Nashville. This was many years ago. I think this is like in the late 90s. He was known for taking trips out to these restaurants that had hot chicken in Nashville. If he would just keep showing up. And at some point, when you're the mayor of a city, you get a chance to kind of leave your mark and leave your namesake. So he created the first annual Hot Chicken Festival, which always happens on the 4th of July in Nashville. If my story straight, you may want to fact check me on that. I know it's an annual chicken festival. And so anyway, long story short, ever since then, and we've got all these people, just like Memphis is known for its barbecue, and there's different parts. You go out west to Kansas City, they're known for their barbecue as well. North Carolina has barbecue, though it's vinegar-based. It's a little bit different, if you know what I'm talking about. But long story short, Nashville is known for its spicy hot chicken, and there are different levels of it. So that was started by a former mayor of Nashville, and now it's a reoccurring event where folks get a chance to experience their hot chicken. And what's great about it is you've got folks like Kentucky Fried Chicken who picked up on that, and they actually have a brand of KFC, which is Nashville Hot Chicken. And true quick story, I'm almost at percentage where this will work. I was in Washington, D.C. for the congressional conference, and while I was there at the hotel, I went online to look for things to do because I just wanted to just sit at the hotel and be bored. And I went online and I did a Google search just like on the Monday or the Tuesday before the congressional conference. And I typed in what's going on in D.C. because I do that in Nashville often. And I found out that at a local restaurant, it was a Burmese food, which is way outside the box for a country boy like me. But I went and had Burmese food and also learned how to play the game Mahjong, which is like, if you've seen the movie, I guess, Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians. In the game where they play the tiles and the Mahjong. If you remember from my bio, I love tabletop strategy games. I love the opportunity to get to meet strangers. Well, I did just that. I went to a place in D.C. I'd never been before, sat at a table with strangers, people I've never met before, ate food that in my normal I wouldn't eat, but it was delicious. And I got to learn how to play the game Mahjong and have fun with a bunch of strangers. And yes, I won the game the third time we played it, and I ponged to Mahjong. If you play that game, you know exactly what I had to do in order to get the tiles to do so, but it was pretty cool. All right, I am opening this up. And my hope, Zach, is that it fires right back up, and then I can go out there and show you my scrum room.
I think that should work great.
Is that cool?
Yep.
If you guys haven't figured out by now, life is way too short to be dull and boring. I want to live in the moment. I want to be present with people, and that being having conversations about hot chicken, so be it. All right, we're going to use the internet. It's going to give me a feedback. We're going to turn this off. We're going to turn this off here. All right, can you guys see me?
Yes, we can.
All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to rock on over. All right. Hopefully the internet works. All right, I'll head this way. So real quickly, these are our meeting rooms. we meet with clients. Zach, can you hear me?
Yep.
So as you can tell, this is not your traditional financial advisor's office. We just, this is where folks sit. It's like a counselor's office. Usually I'll sit like right over here, and we just pull up our numbers using a living balance sheet, which is a proprietary software where it's like e-money, and folks sit here and we just talk about life, and it has a very laid back feel to it. In the other conference room, which happens to be named after the Buffalo Room, which is, here's Kane Myers. And this is, again, it's just a really chill environment. Not your grandpa's financial advisor office feel, but we love it. And again, we sit here in these chairs, talk to folks, and we put their numbers up on the screen using Apple TV. And this is where the magic happens. This is our Scrum room. So as you can tell, this is real time. And Zach, can you still see me?
Yeah, we can see you great.
All right, cool. So this is my Scrum board. So as you can tell, you got Kane. Oh, by the way, you got Jeb over here. Everybody, this is Jeb Bell. He's busy at work. We've got 2 client meetings this afternoon. He's helping me get prepped for that. And so I'm interrupting his flow. And so I'll get back to my Scrum board. So here we go. So we got, in the top, we've got the will. If you guys can see that, the doing.
Yep.
And then the done. And our Scrum times are every day from 10:30 to 11. We prep. And then we got Kane. If you guys can see John, Judd, Jeb. And then we got Ann, who's our, as I mentioned, is our director of first impressions. Then Jason. And we call Jason the machine. He is the, when it comes to processing paperwork, he is a machine. And so here are the numbers. I'm trying to keep us back as far as possible, so I'm not violating type of HIPAA thing. But as you can tell, there's green and yellow stickies. And the reason why we use green and yellow stickies is yellow is behind the scenes processing paperwork. Green is client facing. And so the idea is we move from will do to doing to done, and then it's broken down for each day on the day of the week. And then we keep track of, this was actually today. So this is my over here. So I did yesterday, as far as I was out of the office, I was with Lily. And today we've had meetings, planning meetings all this morning. So this afternoon, when we have our client meetings, I'll plug them in there. So that just kind of gives you guys a big idea of what we do. This is how this is how we Scrum. Cool. Old number 7.
A necessity.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so there we go. All right, so that is, can you guys see me, Zach? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, so this is the conclusion of my presentation. Again, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to share a bit of my heart with you guys and my life, the day in the life of John D. Richardson, and give you guys a taste as to what Scrum is all about. And my hope is that you take this information, go buy the book, and as quickly as possible, start to incorporate the idea of agile planning and Scrum planning into your life as quickly as you possibly can. Again, I'm going to leave it open for a few more questions. And
sure, we have one right now, actually, if you're open to take it.
Okay.
So when you first approached your team about using Scrum in your office, were they resistant at all to the change in the environment?
So that is a great question. And Deb, right? So here's the deal. The big secret's this. The answer is no, because we're part of, we have a DBA, which stands for Doing Business As, and that's Bound Brook Advisors. This DBA was actually named after our founding partner's grandmother, who had a house in a part of Tennessee, up in Paris, Tennessee, where everybody would come together. And remember, we talked about the buffalo and folks had friction-filled conversation. Her house was a safe place for people to be themselves, where they're going to be loved unconditionally, understood. But when there is issues, we deal with it. Our clients, when they come to our office, it has the same kind of mid-modern century, 1950s, 1960s decoration, which is why we decorated this place like that. So all 4 of us left our main office, which had the more traditional corporate feel, to come and do our own thing and create a space where we could truly live out this vision of creating an environment much like Kane's grandmother's house, where there's always plenty of food. You knew you were going to have a tough conversation, but at the end of the day, we're going to give you a hug and tell you we love you. and we're going to walk with you. So there wasn't much resistance to initially making the transition because that was a big part of the reason why we made the move. The challenge is, just with anything new, it's easy to fall back into old habits. There's been times where we fell out of rhythm, and I was busy traveling or doing other activities, and we call it the dark period. There were 3 weeks, or the dark age, or whatever you want to call it. There was 3 weeks, and this was, I guess, a couple months ago, where we just went Scrum-less. We went back to our old ways, and it was horrible. Our productivity went way down. We were as lost as a ball in tall weeds, and it was not a pleasant place to be. And we quickly realized, and we did it because we were just like, we took it for granted because we had all this early success in the year. Normally the ramp-up process is like this. 3rd and 4th quarter is when we kill it. 1st quarter is to kind of build momentum. Well, we had a spike in the 1st quarter because we were intentionally using Scrum in our business. And we got complacent because we figured, we can kind of coast. And then there was 3 weeks we didn't Scrum, and we quickly realized that we need to Scrum. That organization, that ability to be intentional with our time, made us happier, made us more productive. My wife, Kelly, got to see me more because I got a chance to actually do less work because I was more efficient with my time rather than burn the candle at both ends being exhausted all the time. So long story short, to make the initial move, no, there wasn't resistance. Now, is it easy to get out of the rhythm? Yes. We had that dark period. We realized we don't want to go back to that. So we all have ups and downs, but we've committed on the whole to keeping that. So you're right. This is typically an IT. I think in your question you mentioned it's a information technology, IT kind of deal, but all 4 of us are adventure seekers. All 4 of us see the vision of what this place is growing and basically what God's doing with our business and growing it taking it to a new level. And we're excited about that. So it's, at first it was new and exciting. Now it's become the norm. And so we don't see much pushback. This is just a typical day in the life of us at Bound Brook Advisors. Deb, I hope I answered your question. If you want to follow up with another question, that'd be great. Just tell me if I nailed it or not. If you want me to explain more, but on the whole, I think I got your question.
And if anybody would like to follow up, did you want to throw your slide back up about where your contact info is?
Absolutely. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Here we go. And by the way, I will share this. If there's anybody on this call who has not, who's under age 40, who wants to apply for the NAFA Young Advisor Team YAT Leader of the Year, the deadline is Monday, July the 1st. So here we are, the Friday before. You can go to NAFA's website. You can click on it. Highly encourage anybody that you know of that's under 40 to go ahead and apply for that. As the last year's recipient, I'm on that selection committee, and we've been receiving a lot of applications, which is exciting. And when you've got 15 or 20 people applying, which I think is where we'll end up, not everybody's going to get chosen, but that's okay. That's 15 to 20 people that have interest, that are doing a lot of great things within NAFA, and that basically helps us build a bench with on the National YAT Committee, which I'm very excited to chair this year, and it's been a great year. I've had several people tell me this seems like it's the year of the YAT because of all the folks who are stepping up and getting excited about NAFA and taking NAFA in a new direction with the ambassador program. If you have a chance to participate in the ambassador program, it's not for NAFA members, it's for people who are not members. It gives them a chance to taste what NAFA is about. Then they'll want to sign up and join. So if you got some non-NAFA members in your office, get them to join, sign up for the ambassador program if you want to hang around and get to hear from the best in the industry. These are folks who are professionals and talk about different topics from how to prospect like a rock star, how to run a business, all that good stuff. It's completely free, and it's a month. So there's 4 different sessions. They typically happen on a Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. So I would highly encourage you to get involved. Zach, that's all I got. Any questions?
I think that concludes today's webinar, and just wanted to thank everybody for joining us, and I wanted to thank you, John, for presenting today. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend and a great rest of the day.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good day. Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July.
You too. Take care.